So we humans aren't allowed to swim in the lake. My aunt, I live next door to her, she is in her mid-60s, and when she was young, she used to be able to come and swim here before it was a park, but now only dogs can swim in the dog park, in the lake. So now we're going to walk back into the hardwood hammock, and we're going to see some very important trees to our place. So right here, who knows what this tree is? Right on the edge, standing out in the middle. Sable palm, yes. So that's our state tree. So we've already gone over, I think we said state mockingbird, state bird is mockingbird, state butterfly is zebra, and that's our state tree, the sable palm. But there's a sable palm mystery that I cannot figure out, and that is that some of them have boots and some of them do not. Hey, disc golf friend. This way. Sorry.
No problem. I want you to take the shot. I'll be out of here.
Take the shot. Everybody root for him. We're all watching. Nice. So Snyder Park has a whole disc golf course through here. We have disc golf tournaments, and we're actually walking on the disc golf turf. So we're in disc golf turf right now, honestly. No, it's okay. Thank you. So back to the sable palm mystery. Why do some have these boots and some don't? I ask every nature tour. I genuinely do not know. I've asked the city forester. It's our state tree. Nobody knows. So if you do find out, I hope you'll reach out to me. I'll give you my contact info at the end of the tour because we gotta know. But see how some have those little boots at the bottom, some do not? I don't know. What's behind Scott right here? A gumbo limbo. Here's gumbo limbo right here. Hey, Andy, last time you were here, we saw a caterpillar. So I thought that the gumbo limbo is actually, it like has like little seed pods. I've never seen that before right outside the office. But this plant is known as the tourist tree. And guess why? Because it looks like it got a sunburn. It looks like it's peeling. So why is this tree doing this besides us so we can make a joke about tourism? So underneath this bark is this green bark. And so gumbo limbo, a lot of times people say nothing changes in Florida. We're like, it's hot all the time. There are no seasons, but there are seasons. And I hope on the nature tours that you learn that you feel this deeper belonging to our place. And so gumbo limbo is a deciduous tree, so it drops its leaves in the wintertime, and it's able to continue photosynthesis through this green on the trunk. Also, interesting, we would make fun of it and call it the tourist tree because it actually helps with skin issues as well too. So if you have eczema, if you get a sunburn, if you have a rash on the skin, gumbo limbo can help with that. And gumbo limbo is really strong for storms as well too. So we've had those strong winds coming through. A lot of these plants that evolved in our place, the hardwood hammock, these plants don't grow as fast as other plants because they're growing really hard, dense bark and deep roots. So this is gumbo limbo. I'm not going to be here for the Halloween tour because, is this September? Yeah, October, so I'll give it to you now. But the city forester told me a legend about this tree too. This plant was so sacred to the people of this place that when someone would die, they would plant a gumbo limbo over the dead body. And so maybe we're in a graveyard, spooky. But probably not. Gumbo limbo can propagate itself as well too. You'll see it growing all throughout the hammock. So our hardwood all-stars, we got gumbo limbo, we got sable palm, we got live oak, obviously, and we got a whole lot of air potato. So what's this stall over here? Anybody know? Yes. So who's been to the beach on one day and you're like, man, there's seaweed everywhere, and then you come back the next day and there's no seaweed, and you're like, what happened? So you know, we have those little guys that drive by, guys and gals, pushing up the seaweed. Where does the seaweed go? To Snyder Park. So we're one of the only cities in Florida that composted seaweed, so good on us for that. A lot of other cities will take their seaweed to the landfill, but all the seaweed that gets pushed up is brought back to an ancient seaweed mountain back in the park that we've been building up for like 25 years. So we take from the bottom of the seaweed pile for you all, and we've created this little trough right here so you can come and take seaweed as a soil amendment for your garden. So here in Snyder Park, our program is called the Circle of Life Experience because we want to inspire you all to remember that we're connected to the Circle of Life and also use the resources we have around going to the garden store and buying kelp from California that's shipped in, how can we use the resources that we have around us? So we don't want to use too much seaweed in our garden. We want to use it like a soil amendment. So you just come and fill up a little bucket and sprinkle it around, and it adds those trace minerals. Yes, Kim? Yes, so it adds trace minerals, so a lot of things that will be missing in the soil. And also I've heard that it helps with nematodes as well too. So nematodes are a pest, but also nematodes are all on the ground beneath us, but they can eat roots. And so if you're having an issue with nematodes, you can use the seaweed in that way. But a lot of times it's like trace minerals. So like if you ever eaten seaweed yourself, or moringa or nettles, those plants that hold a lot of minerals and nutrients, they help to make our garden stronger as well too, just like us. All right, let's head on back. So we've been talking about air potato, the plant everybody loves to hate, but I hope on this nature tour you know that there's no plants that we can hate. Even air potato, who puts on a really big show at this time of year. So air potato is this heart-shaped leaf right here. And air potato is an invasive plant. So in the environmental movement, we've been trained to love plants and hate plants. And air potato, nobody likes you, even though you have little heart-shaped leaves. And the reason nobody likes air potato is because it can grow up to 8 inches in one day. And so air potato, you'll see climbing all over the canopy. Come around the corner so you can see it a little better. And air potato, like I said, puts on a big show during the summertime where it climbs and climbs and climbs, but in the wintertime it will die back. And so these invasive plants came to our place, usually because of us, but sometimes because of natural means as well too, like a bird coming through, dropping a seed, things coming through on the wind. But I hope you know that all plants are serving a role, even if we can't understand it or see it at the time. A lot of times these invasive plants are moving into degraded landscapes, so places where we've cleared the ground, that's where these things will come in to try and repopulate an area and bring new life to it. And after that happens, a lot of times they'll die back as well too. Here's another invasive plant that we'll see a lot more of. This is Suriname cherry. So one of these cherries provides your body, once again, with all the vitamin C you need for one day. And these cherries got here because we were like, whoa, those are nice. We should use them as hedges. We sold them. The birds said, whoa, those cherries are delicious. And they pooped the cherries all throughout the park. And then we get these plants popping up all over the place. So rather than saying, get rid of the Suriname cherry, how can we use these plants that are already growing in our place? One way is they provide our bodies with a lot of vitamin C, and they are delicious. If you come back in the fall, that's usually when they're fruiting. They'll fruit twice a year, actually. Not fruiting right now, but a couple nature tours ago, we were just walking through eating cherries the whole time because the whole park is filled with these cherries. Here's beautyberry we were talking about up front. Remember the one with the little purple berries? So this is that, once again, a Florida native that likes to grow in the shade. So if you want to grow beautyberry, the forest can be an amazing way to learn how to grow too, because we'll get started in our garden and we're like, what do plants want? What do they need? So we can measure these sunlight patterns, seeing things coming through like this, and say, hey, beautyberry is growing pretty well in the understory, so we don't want to put it out in full sun. Yeah. The keeper forest. I believe this buddy lives in the log here. Oh, we've got a lot of your friends out for the tour today. So we have a variety of iguanas in the park, like I said. Iguanas are once again an invasive, but the iguanas didn't ask to be here. You know, I see them along Federal Highway and I'm like, man, it's gotta be hard. There's even a bounty out for iguanas where it's like, we want your head! So it's gotta be hard to be an iguana, but as a gardener, it's hard to love iguanas as well too, because iguanas are like crazy dinosaurs where not only do they eat bird eggs, but they also love to eat plants as well too. So those little lizards we see around, like the curly tails, the anoles, they will eat bugs, which is great, but iguanas will move through the garden and they will eat our leafy greens. But, like I said, the iguanas didn't ask to be here, they're just trying to live. And they have no real apex predator at this time. However, I've heard that the raccoons are acquiring a taste for them, so that's pretty crazy. I'd imagine that one would probably put up a pretty crazy fight with a raccoon. Here's a muscadine grapevine. So muscadines right now are fruiting across the city. You can actually grow grapes in Florida. Muscadine's the best one to grow. The wild ones don't always fruit, but we'll see if we see some along the tour. They have these interesting kind of spiny shaped leaves, and they are considered to be a weed, but they're growing all through here. A delicious weed, I would say. Same with Suriname cherry. So what's that sound that we hear in the distance? Not my squeaky microphone, but that noise. Do you hear it? I mean, we hear 95. The other sound. It's a cicada. So if I start a band, I'm going to call myself the cicadas, because cicadas are one of the loudest bugs that there are. But cicadas, to me, are the symbol, the sound of summertime. Growing up in this place, cicadas, they start singing at 8 a.m. and you're like, man, it's going to be a hot day. So here's air potato in its purest form. There's our state butterfly, the zebra longwing. There's a beautiful light coming through the canopy this morning. Even though we're next to 95, we still can breathe and connect to the living world here on this little strip of